Hey guys, welcome back to another batch chat with your girl Elmo. Let's get into week 4 review of The Bachelor. There is so much drama in this episode. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. So let's talk about first, I'm not gonna go in any particular order. I'm just gonna keep it fluid. I think a lot of the events cross-section with one another, so forgive me ahead of time if I just double back on things. All right, so kicking off, the conversation between Katie and Victoria. First off, Katie is a boss because Victoria has definitely met her match, okay? She wasn't taking any prisoners when Victoria asked her to apologize. Absolutely not. She's not going to apologize because there's nothing to apologize for. Victoria, as we all know, she speaks her mind and she's been kind of a mean girl from day one. So I appreciated the fact that Katie was not playing any games and pretty much putting Victoria in her place, keeping her in check, okay? So kudos and shouts out to you, Katie, for standing up for yourself and not letting Victoria walk all over you like she does some of the other people. Moving on. I've never, or I can't remember, I should say, seeing a night date coming on and watching The Bachelor. So I think with this episode, it opened up and we saw them kind of have this night date. I had to go back and rewind and look to see in the previous episode if I missed a day date because it was so weird that they entered on this like night date basically. I think at the beginning there was like this girl code thing happening where Anna, I don't know if she mentioned to the girls that she wanted to be the first one to speak to Matt, but Victoria made that blatantly clear that she was not going to speak to Matt first, and that instead of Anna talking to her, that Victoria was going to break girl code and say, bump that, I'm getting my time with Matt. You know, very condescendingly, very Victoria mean girl-esque. So needless to say, I felt when the conversation started off, a lot of conversations, I mean, we're in week 4, guys. We're in week 4. And as we saw with, you know, Sarah and Matt, they had some really, I felt like, deeper conversations. But I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the conversations are very surface level. Like, just like, yeah, how are you doing this week? And are things hard for you? Like, I don't know if they're just not showing it on TV, but I'm just like, what is going on? We are in week 4 and the conversations that we're seeing are not that deep. I mean, they just seem very surface level. I mean, a little bit maybe on Serena P's date, they got a little deep, but I just don't feel like the conversations have been that deep. During the night, Matt spoke to Chelsea and they shared a nice conversation, and she was just sharing about her hair journey, you know, because Black women love their hair and how, like, you know, her transformation has gone with that. I thought that was nice that she shared that with him. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like during their conversation Matt was listening to her, but I don't know if it was coming off the weird energy with Sarah leaving, but I just kind of felt like Matt's eyes were dead and he was just kind of like, okay, cool, want a kiss? Like, I feel like he is not taking any time to slow down. I mean, he's kissing everybody, okay? But I also like the fact that Matt remembers a lot of the details when he talks to the ladies again. I mean, that's a lot of women to be dating at once. And then you remember small details about the night they got out of the limo and details about their family. Like, he either has a really, really great memory or really, really great producers helping him. So let's start to talk about when Victoria finally had her time to speak with Matt. You know, finally, Queen Victoria gets her time. You know, and as they are talking, a classic moment happens. Chris Harrison appears and rescues Matt. Chris Harrison dropped the bomb on basically Victoria's date. I thought it was super classic. I was like, wow, like, karma. You finally get time with Matt, and then Chris Harrison of all people, not even one of the ladies, Chris Harrison of all people interrupts and steals Matt away. It doesn't get, I mean, I can't make this up. I mean, maybe producers can because it is very good TV. But as we know, there were 5 new girls introduced, and I'm gonna name them. I have to write their names down because they are new. So we have Brittany, Michelle, Ryan, Kimberly, and Catalina. And then we know that Kimberly I think she was the only girl who went home. Yeah, so 5 new women into the house. Let's just talk about it. So, I mean, obviously Brittany opened up with a shebang. She kissed Matt on her way out of the limo, came into the house. And at this point, you know, as all the girls are looking and seeing what's happening, I really felt like, you know, Victoria made a comment or something like, you know, there's new girls here. And of course the women are going to be salty. Like, here we are, we put time in already, and now comes some basically new women into the house, embarking on potentially some of the relationships that have been formed already with Matt. And so I see how the girls can be like, dang, but my whole point is, and I think every person of substance that has been like gotten down to the final, I would say 5, has, for the most part, has been someone who's really not, at least that we see on TV, is not really concerned with any other person outside of the Bachelor or the Bachelorette in that person's relationship. And so it just seemed really, I know the girls are frustrated, but it just seemed really strange. Like, everybody basically immediately started becoming a mean girl. As soon as the girls got, they were like, oh gosh, like these new girls are in the house. There was definitely a shift in the energy. One moment I did not appreciate at all was Catalina, I believe. I think she was, I don't even remember. She is the beauty queen. She was the beauty queen that walked in, and Victoria made a comment that she wanted to meet Catalina. Catalina walked over, and as we know, Victoria took the crown off Catalina's head. I almost lost my mind. How dare you? Catalina, you're a good one. She was a beauty queen. She had to hold it together, but babe, let me tell you, Victoria, you're not snatching no crowns or touching my hair at all or anything on my head. How dare she? Yeah, I just thought it was super crazy that she decided that she was going to take off Catalina's crown and put it on her head and call herself a queen. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I just thought she'd have lost her mind at that point. She lost her mind. Because ain't no way you touching my head. Get her out. Get her out before she gets hurt. Get her out. Victoria, you're out of line. You are out of line. I think Victoria is one of those type of people that she says what's on her mind, and it's sometimes like what everybody in the room's thinking. But my whole thing is, like, there's a time and there's a place and there's a way. Like, there's a way to say something to somebody, even if it's rude. There's a way to speak your mind. You can do all those things. You can be outspoken, but it's just like in the way that you do it. You can say like, can I borrow a pencil? Or you can say, give me that pencil. 2 different approaches. Like, come on, like, Victoria, you can be nice. Like, I just didn't like Victoria's whole vibe, like this entire episode. So after the new girls got settled into the house, obviously what happens naturally is that if you have new people in the house, you get time to talk to them, because guess what? There is a rose ceremony on the line. There is a rose ceremony on the line. So his conversation with obviously Michelle was very, I don't know, it was just very fresh and like eye-opening. And it's like, oh, this is maybe these are the type of things that I should be talking about when I come to talk to Matt, as opposed to kind of what we've been saying is like, are you okay, Matt? And then we always see like, are you okay, Matt? And then from him, we always get, what can I do? What is something more that I can do for you? When I was talking to Michelle, I felt like they were having a real conversation similar to the conversations that he used to actually have with Sarah. So I found that refreshing, and yeah, it was great. And before I jump into, I guess, past the rose ceremony, because we all know who went home, unfortunately, but I thought it was super weird. Did you guys catch the part where Chris Harrison and Matt were about to go into the rose ceremony, and Matt was literally confused? He's just like, I don't know what to think. And Chris Harrison's like, well, good luck tonight. He gave him no advice. Like, Chris Harrison, you're supposed to be the bro. You're supposed to be the side dude. You're supposed to help him. Like, I just kind of felt for Matt in that moment, because he literally was, it looked as if he was looking to Chris Harrison for guidance and did not get it. So yeah, I thought that was weird. I'm like, Chris, like, this is what you're here for. But needless to say, Matt, you know, mustered up the courage and went through with the rose ceremony. And Obviously, we saw one of the new girls, Kimberly, go home, and then we also saw kind of one of my faves. We saw Caleb go home. It saddened me. I think that was like her worst fear, was going home, and unfortunately I think she just never got that time with Matt, so she had to go. Jumping into the group date part of the day, so I love the fact that they brought back Ben. Oh my goodness. Whew. Y'all, I'm sorry to pause on Matt for a second, but Ben, that smile, I know he was there to talk to Matt about like his feelings and how he's like progressing with the ladies, but whew, Ben Higgins. That was a good season too, by the way. Anyway, I was happy to see that Ben was back. He was definitely good eye candy alongside Matt, but Ben was definitely good eye candy on this group date. So I'm so happy that they brought Ben back. I thought this was like one of the most interesting, funny group dates. Pumpkins and squirrels. I mean, you gotta get creative here. So that, I liked that Mari won the challenge, because she definitely deserves it after all of the challenges and group dates that she's been on. Like, she definitely deserved to win this one. So I'm glad that she won the group date. It was hilarious that Maggie got stuck and they just kind of like, production kind of just left her there in the lake. That was hilarious. I'm sorry, but how do you get stuck? Girl, you have a paddle. Girl, paddle out, girl. Oh, Maggie, we love you, girl, but somebody should have helped you out of that little pumpkin that you were in. Anyway, going to the night date. This was kind of like the turning point, because as we know, Anna has now turned into a mean girl. I mean, obviously the ladies are starting to get a little bit more antsy, and there was, I think, definitely, I can firmly call it bullying on this particular episode. I definitely felt like the new girls were getting bullied. I felt like there was, during the night portion of this date, kind of got very super catty amongst the women who were already there before the new women arrived. I feel like Anna just got super catty, and I would just call it jealous of the new people coming in, especially Brittany, with them being from the same hometown. And I just was like, Anna, who are you? Like, since when did you become best friends with Victoria, first and foremost? Like, it was just classless, and I didn't appreciate it. And I was just like, you don't need to gang up on somebody. Like, you don't need to do that. And I don't know why Anna felt it necessary for her to align herself with Victoria. I don't think that's in Anna's personality necessarily. I mean, I guess it is, since she did it, but I just feel like from day one, we've known who Victoria is, and she's shown us who she is, and she hasn't deviated from that. And then I just feel like it's something new with Anna coming along. Anna, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Not necessary. Matt is not judging this process on who's been in the house the longest versus who has not been in the house the longest. Like, that doesn't even matter. And I want to just say thank you, Katie, for actually stepping up and saying something to Matt about it, because I agree with her that the bullying has to stop. And one other thing that I wanted to mention when I was talking back about Anna, my whole point is, like, with her, if you did hear a rumor about somebody, and if you wanted to know if it's true or not, one, is truly not your business. You should mind your own. But if you wanted to know so badly, or if you wanted to talk about someone else's business and put it out there, you should have taken Brittany aside and had a private conversation. I didn't like the fact that she just decided to, hey, Brittany, so I have people messaging me from back home saying that you date men for money. And the way she addressed it in front of the group, I was like, what's happening here? What is happening here? So no, Anna, have several seats. No. And that's why she was scared that she wasn't going to get the rose. Be careful. So let's talk about, I think the highlight of this episode was Michelle and Matt's date. Oh my God. From beginning to end. How can you not love this date? Like, I kind of, in my mind, I was like, Michelle is the new Sarah. Is the new Sarah, because I felt like Sarah and Matt's date were like, ooh, yes, what are you guys talking about? Like, oh, we never heard this before. And I feel the same way with Michelle. I just feel like Matt and Michelle, ladies worried about mean girls, new girls versus old girls, they better watch out, because some people came here to not gossip, to not talk about other girls, but to find a man and take him home and marry him. And Michelle, she knows exactly what she wants. And I'm so happy that she had a chance to get a one-on-one date with Matt. I just love their chemistry. I love the, like, let's say how many kids we want on 3. And I don't know about y'all, but from what I saw in that hot air balloon, listen, if I could zoom my TV in anymore, I was like, wait a minute. Are his eyes closed? You guys know Matt does not close his eyes when he kisses. It was close. I don't know if they were closed all the way, but they were low. Honey, that date was spicy, okay? Very spicy. I just loved everything about their date. It was just amazing. It just seemed like they actually had things to really talk about, like things that you would talk about when you're getting to know someone and you're potentially going to be engaged and married to them at the end of the day. The night date, I feel like that's where Michelle kind of really shined. She was laying it all out there on the table. And I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but when Matt goes on his dates, 9 times out of 10, I mean, he asks some questions, but it's a lot of the women talking. It's a lot of the women talking. Did you guys notice that, like, once Michelle said what she wanted, Matt was engaging and asking her, you know, questions back and forth. So I just really thought that was nice to see that exchange. He actually looked like he was genuinely trying to get to know her, and he was impressed by her and wanted to be like, you know, the knight in shining armor all in one. It was nice to see, like, on TV. I think for Matt, similar to Tayshia's season, with Ivan and Tayshia talking about, like, the George Floyd, and she was talking about more than George Floyd, but also talking about COVID-19 as well, and just the impact that it had on her students. Just the same as when Ivan and Tayshia were having that conversation, the same type of conversation. I just wondered why, because we really didn't hear anything on Matt's perspective from that. We just kind of really heard Michelle, and I was surprised that Matt did not chime in more regarding that situation. Or I know we've seen that conversation already, but it was just interesting because this is like two new people, and it just was interesting to see the dynamic. I'm just surprised that he did not say anything more about that. So hopefully, I'm hoping that they're seriously having these conversations, even if we don't see them on camera. So yeah, so I thought their date was really cute and really nice, and honestly, Michelle is coming for everyone. To me, I like Michelle is in the lead, okay, right now. And let me not forget, okay, because I had to write this down. So Matt said, "I've seen all I need to see." And he told her, "You have the qualities that I'm looking for in a wife." Listen. Y'all better watch Michelle, because she's coming for Matt's heart. And by looking at this quote here, "I've seen all I need to see," and he gave her a rose, and he likes her, tells me a lot, okay? And I'm surprised that they let that air on TV. I mean, I think that pretty much sums up the entire episode for the most part. I mean, again, thanks for Katie for stepping up to the plate. I think I've been talking about Katie a lot, and I think the honorary rose on this episode, you guys, has to go to Katie. I feel like she just was a warrior through the whole thing from start to finish. She doesn't let anybody walk over her. And yes, Katie will get you all together in 1.2 seconds, okay? So Katie, you get the honorary rose, and I'm super, super excited to see next week. I wanted to also do some side notes, which are just like quick little moments. Sorry, my phone's about to die, guys. Which are quick little moments in the episode that I just wanted to call out, that were running thoughts through my mind, but I necessarily didn't have a place for them in this review. But just like, this is my random, so please don't crucify me. It's just like my random thoughts. So one, not that it matters, because like I don't care, but I literally did not know that MJ was white. I'm sorry, I did not know that she was white. I thought MJ, listen, there's a lot of mixed girls on the show. I didn't know she was white. I mean, maybe it's the curly hair. I don't know, but that was a surprise to me when I was watching it. I don't know even how I came across that, but I was just like, wait, what? I think someone I was watching with had mentioned it, and I literally had to look it up, and I did not know she was white. So there you go. I thought Brie in this episode, her hair and her skin looked amazing. Brie just looked like, I don't know, she looked like out of a magazine. She just looks so pretty. So I had to give Brie her props for just bringing the looks with this date. I thought it was hilarious that they showed Maggie's time with Matt at the end when the episode was going off. I was like, see, this is why we don't get to see, because I was wondering why Maggie keeps getting roses, and I was like, I never see Matt talking to Maggie, but Maggie steady getting roses. So then they showed her date at the end of the episode, and I was like, this is why we don't see Maggie's dates, because she has Matt doing some crazy stuff. She had him dancing to a song with no beat, and just, I mean, we couldn't hear the song. Maybe it was in Matt's head, but that was super hilarious. And Maggie was just like super into it. Like, yep, you're gonna dance and I'm gonna watch, and like, this is how we're gonna spend our time. Gotta love Maggie. But I think that's all the side notes. I mean, I think I said this already, but I was sad to see that Kayla went home. And oh, other note, I thought that Mari looked so pretty. I think it was she was sitting on the couch at one point, like with, at least from what I saw, it didn't look like she had any makeup on. I thought she was gorgeous. Again, you guys know like how I felt about Mari before and how I love her now, and I just think Mari's gorgeous. She doesn't need makeup, she doesn't need anything, and she's a sweet person. So Team Mari. But anyway, I guess that's all the side notes that I have for now, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.